Hey everyone, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to Gear Corner. Today, we're checking out my favorite modulation effect type ever, which is the vibe. And I didn't say univibe on purpose, mainly because this pedal, the Krozz Devices Krakenheart, which is a vibe pedal, and we're checking out this today, and it does not want to be another take on a univibe. Because let's be honest, most vibe pedals nowadays that come out try to be, well, a univibe, like the perfect recreation of the original pedal, or B, try to give the univibe a little bit of a modern feature set to fit modern guitar rigs. This one, the Krakenheart, can give you the vintage tone. It does have a setting or a ballpark where you can definitely get close to the univibe kind of super chewy, super warm kind of tone, but it has two knobs, this one and this one, that take you way, way further than that. But first, here's the intro track. Let's talk about the knobs and all the features. First of all, the first is the most important one. It's called level. It's the volume of the pedal. So it's not the level of the effect. It's the volume of the signal that comes out of the pedal and goes further on your guitar rig. Super, super important. If you've ever played a vibe pedal, whether it's a univibe or anything similar, you know how big of an issue it is, thanks to its nature, its phasing nature, that you kind of disappear in a mix or just sound super dull or super thin all of a sudden, depending on how the voicing of the pedal is. That can be a big, big issue. So it's awesome to have such a huge headroom. The next knob is called the Spectrum, and that's the one that lets you decide if you want to go full-on vintage, like old school univibe style, super chewy, super warm, very, in-your-face kind of univibe tone, or it's also a little scooped, by the way, or if you go into Krozz Devices' own take on that, which is a lot of mid-range. It's not scooped at all. It's the opposite. It's not as sparkly and bass heavy as the maxed out setting. It's the opposite. You have tons of mid-range, and even if it's a little too much, what I love about it, depending on the guitar, of course, and the rig, what I love about it is how it blends with the old school setting, with the maxed out setting. So from like this, whatever that is, 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, you have a huge range of great mix of pushing the mid-range or pushing the rest of it, which is like low end and sparkle, and you can just dial it in to fit what kind of vibe tone you're looking for, what kind of guitar or amp you're playing. And this is what, in my opinion, every vibe pedal should have, but they usually don't. So that's a huge, huge plus for the Krakenheart. Then the next one is depth. That is the depth of the effect. So how obvious the vibing effect is. If you go down, you barely have anything. Like it's literally dry. And if you max it out, it's a pretty square wave style, like super in your face vibe. That's much more radical than what normal like univibe style pedals can do. So again, you can get much past that kind of vintage vibey tone. So if you want to have like a traditional tone, I found 9 o'clock until like 10, 11 o'clock. That's where it's like super sweet, chewy, sort of sinus wave kind of effect, and absolutely lush and lovely. And the next one is the other unique and awesome knob here. I've seen this on some other pedals, but it's again something that should be on every single vibe, if you ask me, because this changes again everything. It's the amount of like how offset the that wobble is. Right in the middle, it's pretty balanced, and if you max it out, you have a lot of dark, low and heavy sort of modulated tone. And if you go back with the knob to its minimum, you have much less of that obvious vibe tone, much less low end, and just more presence. So you can hear yourself much, much better. I think I'll struggle finding another vibe that is as flexibly usable for vintage Hendrix style stuff up to wobbly, dreamy stuff and like modern, super subtle sort of exciters is what I call like those modulation effects that are not very obvious, but when you turn it on, it just makes your guitar tone a tad more exciting. And the last one is the pulse, which is the speed of the vibe effect. It goes from super slow to super fast. I found it most fun to play between like 10 o'clock up until like 12 or maybe 1 o'clock. That range is what I would call like the vintage range, normal slow to normal fast. But you can of course go crazy with it and go in any of the extremes. And then there's a switch here which does whatever we are also used to from all these vibe effects. The upper setting is the chorus, like the vibe setting, and the lower setting is the vibrato, where it kills the dry guitar tone doesn't come and doesn't get mixed together with the affected one. So all you get is the affected, the pitch modulated one, which will act like a vibrato. and it's awesome. If you set up the pedal to do like a subtle kind of pitch thing, like the vibrato thing, it's just so dreamy. And let's talk about the hold foot switch, which is a momentary switch. It's also taller than the other, so you don't step on the bypass switch unintentionally. If you just want to hit this one with your foot, it's much taller, so you're safe. And what it does is it ramps up the speed of the effect. So you can set that up with this really easily accessible trim pot on the side, and you can go for instant speed change. So you have your speed set up here, and then if you push it, it goes right up to. And if you go to the other end setting of the trim pot, the ramp up and ramp down of the hold switch is super slow, like very slow. It's like, I don't know how many seconds, but it could be, I don't know, half the song. Now, if you want to adjust this with your foot, instead of just having a foot switch, you can plug in an expression pedal with which you can obviously do the same thing. You just don't have to worry about the trim pot or this switch, because you literally decide how fast that speed change is with your foot. It's like on the univibe pedal. You know how that works. My thoughts on the Krozz Devices Krakenheart. First of all, it's an absolutely amazing looking pedal. I love those shiny, like gloss finished accents, plus the whole paint job. It's just one of the most beautiful pedals I've ever seen, and it's fully analog. It sounds amazing. It's as good of a vibe as one could wish for, honestly. Plus, it has these two features, the spectrum and the shadow, with which you can tailor it to fit whichever song, whichever mix, which is my only problem with a lot of vibe pedals, that even though I love their tone in isolation when I play alone, but as soon as I want to fit that tone to a band mix, I'm like, oh, it's a little dull, or it's a little thin, or I cannot hear the guitar all of a sudden. I need to turn up everything, which is not ideal. So this is definitely one of those vibe pedals that do not suffer from that issue, which is a natural thing when we're talking about vibes. As told, this solves that on 3 levels. First of all, it has a volume, which is of course essential. Plus, with the spectrum, you can decide on how much mid-range you want to have, and with the shadow, you can make it sound darker, more vibey, or a little more presence heavy and a little less aggressive vibey. So amazing features, amazing looks. Murilo, who makes these pedals, is a super nice person. So absolute 100% recommendation on my side. Let me know what you think about the Krakenheart, and if you have any questions about it in the comments below, and see you next week in a new video. Bye bye.